Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on this live talk. And I'm Meena Puri from Ayurvedic Healing Center, and I am with my friend and colleague, Dr. Brook. She's the chiropractor extraordinaire, and you'll get a chance to hear what makes her the extraordinaire that she is. But before we get there, so we're going to talk about my upcoming group course, which is called 6 Keys to Living a Love-Based Life. It's there's so much included in this topic, so I wanted to give our audience an opportunity to listen in firsthand and also converse. And if you have any questions, I invite the questions that I can address in this live, and you're gonna hear all about why this course, how this course came about, why it came about, and I can't wait to share these teachings with you. I do a lot of work in the group coaching and individual coaching programs. As you know, Ayurveda is the bigger umbrella. My forte and niche seems to be in the spiritual healing, because when I work there, the nutritional changes, the lifestyle changes, whether you're dealing with physical ailments, it becomes that much more easier. So getting to the root cause is my kind of cup of tea. And because when my clients get to the root cause and I help take them there, then the other changes, which Ayurveda is known for more, become that much more easier. So my group courses are an attempt for me to continue to bite-size way kind of share the teachings with clients so they can begin to use it in their own lives. And so we're excited to be here. And this is just a very kind of a casual conversation. Dr. Brook and I are going to just chat about the course, and I hope that you join us in the conversation. If you have any questions, I will take them on and answer them for you. So I'm going to just give a minute to Dr. Brook so she can introduce herself and say hello to you all. Dr. Brook?
Thank you, Meena. I'm very excited to be here, enjoying the conversation already. There's a lot for me to learn as well from this course that you're putting out, and just kind of getting more information about it. And so I'm going to kind of act like one of the viewers today who may not have any information or know what the 6 keys are and how to implement those in your life, and like what you're going to be teaching. So you mentioned earlier, I am a chiropractor extraordinaire. I say that because people think chiropractic, if they have any idea of chiropractic, brain body, connection through the spine, and I'm just going to adjust, snap, crackle, pop. And in reality, from our conversation last week, that's not what I do. I do adjust the spine if necessary, but I'm able to also work with patients virtually through telehealth, using a tool called dynamic system analysis that really gets to, you were talking about with Ayurvedic medicine, and really where you found your, zone of genius, like what I like to call it, that zone of genius, being able to really help somebody through making lifestyle changes, nutritional changes, and whatnot. And that is such a core piece of really enabling someone to heal. So I'm able to do that kind of work as well. You and I, both have very similar backgrounds in finance and in getting into the healing arts. And so it's really exciting to be having this conversation with you and getting to share this space. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm so glad to have you. And that is true. That's how we connected. We both come from some financial corporate work background, and then into the healing modalities. I just tickled when I learned more about Dr. Brook, and I said, you're going to not believe when I share what I have to share with you. And we're like, oh my God. And it just really, it was more than just those are work-related things. We just had so much in common. I couldn't believe it. So that's how the universe works. It brings the kindred spirits, souls together.
Right.
Because together we become we get that support, that acknowledgement, and we become more than two. We become, 1 plus 1 is not equal to, it
Right.
equals 11.
It expands, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
So,
So Mina,
yes,
I would be very, I would love to know just like a basis of what the program is like. I know you gave like an overview of what the program's about, but I'd love to know, what us as the listeners or the people engaging in the course with you, like what those 6 keys are specifically, and then how, it can be implemented.
sure. Yeah,
Mhm.
I came to these teachings about 2, 3 years ago when I was
Mhm.
really struggling with my child being out in the world. A lot of triggers were happening for me. And I thought, what is this? And it's my natural tendency to go dig deep and ask why so I can figure out what the heck to do. And that's when these higher teachings, I was led to a teacher who lived in Hawaii at that time. And I was blown away. I studied with her for a year. And, I did a lot of the past life work, and it healed me in ways, made sense to me about what was, the systems, the energetic systems that were running in my life and
Mhm.
why I was experiencing what I was experiencing, and most importantly, how I was going to heal and give freedom to those energetic systems so I could become freer and whole and, be done with the suffering. So, she imparted with me, these are called 6A. She called it the 6A technique. And at that time, when I learned that technique, she said there were 50 people who were privy to this technique. And it's actually something that I think that we have kind of done the work in, but not necessarily from that angle or that perspective or from that deeper, higher understanding. So the 6A technique was the 6 A's. It's awareness, it's acknowledgement, it's acceptance, it's appreciation, it's application, and anchoring in love. When you look at the surface, oh, I've heard of all of this. Yes, yes, that's how we can heal, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But we really don't understand it. We
Mhm.
really don't understand pretty much within these 6 keys. If you take a course with me, there's like a whole course in itself because there is, it contains all the solution rather to all the psychological, energetic suffering that we have in our life. So instead of me calling it the 6A technique, because then we become very mental about it, we become very technical about it, we become very goal oriented about it. It's like, give me the 6 keys, like show me the money, give me the 6 things, and I'm going to run with it. It doesn't work like that. You can know these 6 A's and still it's not going to do anything for you because the learning has to be experiential.
Mhm.
It has to come through like when you go deep inside the lens, but then you widen that vision so you can see so much more, and the different planes that we exist in and how we connect the dots of our life. This is
Mhm.
awareness. This is not just simple awareness. It's a detailed and a deep awareness, because awareness is medicine. Awareness
Mhm.
heals. So I called it the 6 keys. Even then, we tend to get technical. Although I framed the course around the 6 A's, but I'm not satisfied with just doing the 6 A's because there's, so much more. So I always offer kind of a little guideline
Mhm.
information on the course, but there's so much room I leave for intuitive flow, because I don't know what's going to show up when I'm teaching. I don't know what's going to show up with the participants, their questions, and what is it that they're bringing with them that needs to be addressed. So these are the 6 keys. I love base realm because, I could call the course anything. Like here's the other side of triggers and trauma. It's all really, we can either talk to people's pain points, which there
Mhm.
are many,
Mhm.
and which we may need to in a certain context, or we can give people the future vision of where they can go to, right? And this kind of my way of thinking about this may not sell or invite a lot of people to the course because I'm not triggering people. I'm
Mm.
speaking to people's aspirations. I'm speaking to people's desires. I'm speaking to people who are dreaming of a future that's different than our current world, right?
Mhm.
So, and that's what I'm speaking to. Yes, in order to get there, we cannot bypass the pain point. That's actually the work. That's where we do the work. We go inside the pain points and we realize how we can heal them or free the energies associated with them. And all of a sudden, our whole life just there's a story that begins to unfold. That's your own story that begins to unfold. And you and I do very similar work with different modalities. Is that suffering is your unresolved stories.
Mhm.
Disease is 100% energetic, and disease is all of your unresolved stories that we have yet to resolve. So
Mhm.
so I really want to kind of frame the course around where we're headed, where we can be headed, what is available, what is possible. So we're going to talk about the trauma and the triggers so we can heal it, so we can
Mhm.
understand it,
Mhm.
not so we can continue to perpetuate it and
Mhm.
give it more energy than's needed to heal us. So that's why I designed it like it's the 6 keys to a love-based realm. And this is just 6 weeks doesn't do justice, but it's a start. It's to
Mhm.
get people started, and then the teachings begin to work on you. Once you have the teachings, you may not understand everything during the course, but it goes way beyond the course because the teachings begin to work you. They show
Mm.
up when you need them. You know how that works, right? They
I
begin to,
do.
they begin, you're smiling. It's like they work on you. They begin to work into your life. So you're not
Mhm.
working the teachings. The teachings are working you, right? So,
Absolutely.
but you have to
Absolutely.
just allow that. So it's just, I think this is the world that we're entering where we can have this kind of conversation and have
Mhm.
people perhaps even comprehend or understand or resonate with what I'm talking about.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, you said so much there, and I love it. I love it all. Based on what you said, it sounds like every single week is going to be a different thing over the course of 6 weeks.
Yes.
For as people go through this course with you and learn and really develop in that, it's you, when the student is ready, the teacher
The
appears.
teacher appears. Yeah.
That
Yes.
whole idea, and so where this course is going to not be something that they can just check a box, and say, okay,
No,
completed. It's
yeah.
literally something they're going to have to emotionally feel and work through and grow and evolve
Yeah.
through each of the steps as they kind
Mhm.
of,
Yeah,
come
this
up on
course is
certain
really
steps.
about, yeah, you said the right word. It's really about evolving,
Yeah.
right? It's not a course, it's not a subject. None of these teachings now are like, teachings where we're tested at, we memorize, we regurgitate, we get the A, we're
Hmm.
done with it. It
Hmm.
was helpful, it helped us get here, but
Hmm.
these are different kind of, this is learning to be human. This is learning to be
Mm.
the human, that potential that we are.
Yeah.
This is learning to
Yeah.
be what's possible as a human, the possible human.
Hmm.
And because there is, my God, in some ways I get goosebumps. I'm so grateful to be living during these times because we have an opportunity to the learning. We have been given um, the external background, if you will, the
Hmm.
external context where, it's kind of tapping on our back and saying, come on, are you waking up yet? Come on, I'm tapping you. Are you listening? Are you waking
Hmm.
up? Can you see? Can you feel what's going on? Can you wake up to what I'm asking you to wake up to? So it has really provided such a beautiful context.
Mm-hmm.
And this is really about becoming who you are designed to become. This course is about becoming. We can no longer go into our highest joys and highest aspirations based on the old programs,
Mm-hmm.
right? The old programs of the shame and the perfectionist world, the programming that inherently you're wounded, inherently you're messed up. So
Mm-hmm.
when that belief is playing in the background, no amount of therapy or healing is going to heal us, because we're pivoting from such a broken place.
Right.
Right. And we're like,
Right.
and so, you've got patients, I'm with clients, so
Yeah.
they just continue to do the healing work, healing work, healing work. I'm like, okay, you're stopping at me. We're
Mm-hmm.
stopping. We're
Mm-hmm.
stopping chasing our tail. It's
Mm-hmm.
not, there's nothing, it's a reminder, it's a remembrance, it's a resonance, because it's built in with us. We cannot mess it up. We
Mm-hmm.
cannot miss it, because
Mm-hmm.
it's there. All it's required that we are willing to see, we're willing to peel away the curtain or the veil that's hiding it, that we're willing to do that we're willing to be rattled a little bit, we're willing to be uncomfortable a little bit, we're willing to see the pain that we've been carrying for a little bit, so we can get to the other side of it, right? So we're willing to go through it, because there's a future waiting. There's your future self waiting.
So I have a question in regards to that.
Yeah.
And then it beautifully said, and I mean, I've gone through a lot of work to unravel a lot of traumas and shadow work, right? Like the dark parts in order to get to light. And I'm, only so far on my journey, and there's never a destination. There's always more light and more evolution that can happen. My question to you is about regarding the course, is this a group setting where people will be vulnerable and sharing their dark traumas and things that have happened to them in the past that they're working through with the group, or is this you teaching the group and then maybe having them work through their stuff, maybe one-on-one with you, or how does that go?
So it's a combination.
Okay.
So the course itself, there's a concept
Mm-hmm.
that I present, and I would rarely go more than 10 minutes of me talking before I
Mm-hmm.
involve the participants, because the material is such that it really it not triggers in a bad way, but it really, like, it beckons the question out of them, like, what do you mean by that? Because so much comes up for them. So my way of teaching is I invoke a lot of questions. So instead of me telling them, there's exercises, and they have a notebook and they're writing it down. So da 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 da, I have questions, so they have time to build their context about what I'm teaching. So they have their own context. It's very personalized. And then the course also includes, I'll do many guided meditations for them to learn what I'm teaching them,
Mm-hmm.
because then they experience it in the body.
Mm-hmm.
And I also break them into groups
Mm-hmm.
where they can get together. Depending on the number of participants, they can get together with how many other people, and they will have a question to ponder, or a sharing to ponder, sharing to do, and then they do that with individual groups. I sense if somebody has little bit, sticky situation, or a little bit too much happening, I partner up with them.
Yeah.
And so that, and I said, you and
Yeah.
I are going to partner together.
Yeah.
And so, and also there's a shared agreement that we maintain the utmost confidentiality, and we really hold space for one another, so people can share whatever they feel comfortable sharing.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes people share enough without being so specific about them. They can just, in a question and asking a question, they get the answers.
Yeah.
And I also offer with the course as a bonus And for that reason, for the nature of the course, is a 1 hour individual session with me, because stuff will come up, so they can come meet with me, and we use that hour to kind of clear a way to get over the blocks or the hurdles or the difficulties that they experience with the course material. And so they have that opportunity. And I also, another bonus is, since we're talking about that, is there's a free download of my 21 guided meditations, a program that I did, in last year. We were isolated at home, not knowing what were happening. So I created this 21-day guided meditations audio, and they have that because that'll really serve them in raising the level of awareness and kind of get them a little more prepared for digging deeper.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's beautiful. I think that, I mentioned earlier going through my own kind of healing trauma and journey. And I remember, being so new to the work of being so in tune with yourself, right? Like a lot of people walk around, you talked about taking the veil off, but a lot of people walk around with the veil on,
Yeah.
and they're not even in tune with their own body, with their own selves, and they're kind of walking around as zombies,
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
so I remember on my own journey how scary it was to be vulnerable in situations like that, to be vulnerable. And so I love that you mentioned, the fact that you are creating a space for people to feel comfortable in
Yeah.
sharing whatever traumas and hurts and, horrible things that they may have experienced in their lives that they're aware of and not aware of, because, we know through our work that the body holds on to things sometimes that we're even not even consciously aware of. And sometimes it comes out in random ways. And so just giving people that space where it's like, this is confidential, because to me, when I hear you talking, I'm like, a lot of these people are going to come away with some really close friendships too, because
Yeah.
when you go
Absolutely.
through some life-changing event like this,
Mm-hmm.
those are your people. That's your tribe.
They
Those are
get
people
you.
that
Yeah.
you reach out to beyond after the 6 weeks has ended, and staying connected to Mina, but as well as like being able to connect with the other participants is just,
Yeah, yeah, it is.
beautiful.
It's really. I had a last course I taught was about changing one belief, healing one relationship.
Mhm.
It's never one, but I
No.
got them started with that. And I that's the nature of my work. In my
Yeah.
practice with yoga and Ayurveda over 35 years, I have heard things, unimaginable suffering and
Mhm.
grief of people.
Mhm.
So I'm very adept at tuning in and making everybody feel safe. I've learned to be intuitive. Um,
Mhm.
so there's a great comfort and safety level.
Mhm.
And so remember, this work is not for, because you are wounded, because you are so broken, or because you're inherently so messed up. No, it's really to take away that misconception. It's
Mm.
really to take away that narrative. Remember, it's a narrative. You bought into it. We just need to be done with it. And this work
Yeah.
is about teaching you how to uncondition, how to be done with certain things that are just not part and parcel of the modern world, the new earth that we are all desiring to birth.
Right.
And we don't have, we didn't sign an agreement with somebody saying, hey, by the way, I'm going to stay the same old.
Right.
I don't
Right.
have a contract with anybody to say, hey, I'm
Right.
going to stay the same old. I'm going to
Right.
continue to suffer the same old way.
Right.
No, we've done that. There was a purpose for that. We think we're grateful for it. But now there's another aspect of our personality, our being, that they're yet still are needing to be explored.
Yeah.
So that's what that is. So, I don't want people to think, oh my God. And you know what the truth is? Who hasn't had trauma in their life?
Nobody.
Please raise your hand. It's not going to happen.
Nobody.
It's not going to happen. It has nothing to
Nobody.
do with, oh, did you have a lot of money? Did you have loving parents? Did you have da 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 da? I have yet to meet a person who was not traumatized.
Yeah.
And many of us have like big traumas with a big T, but there's trauma every day. Somebody flips you when you're driving. You don't know
Sure.
what you do with that experience. And the next time you're driving, you're scared somebody's going to flip you off. So you
Yeah.
try to do things. You don't want to make eye contact. So we learn these responses, which are trauma-based responses. And in doing that for year after year after year, remember the covering that is on us. No
Mm-hmm.
wonder we forget the joy. No wonder
Mm-hmm.
we forget that the wholeness. No wonder we forget that we are inherently, beautifully put together and perfect. Of course, we forget that, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not possible. So it's not this course is for everybody. You're going to, because everybody's going to learn from their level of consciousness,
Yeah.
which means there's no end to it. There's no
Mm-hmm.
one who's not going to benefit from their course. And if you take this course more than once, each time, um, you're going to learn it at a different level. You're going to digest it differently because there's so much depth to the teachings.
Mm-hmm.
So wherever you are, it'll meet you there, and it'll never leave you at the same place that you started. So,
So beautiful. So beautiful. And that's such a great point. Like you said, it's for everybody. It's not, I'm not isolating it to a certain group and you have to have all of these
no, no.
things. It's learning to live that love-based, in that love-based realm. Um, and I love the analogy you used. I forgot to mention it earlier, but when you're like, all of the environment and the events of the world that's going on, and it's like it's tapping you on the shoulder and trying to shake you and get your attention,
Mhm.
like wake up, I'm here. I want to engage with you. It's like life is always trying to engage with us, and it's
Mhm.
sharing things with us, and it's trying to get our attention. And a lot of times, we're just like, I'm trying to go get my coffee. Leave me alone. We're
Well,
like doing our
that's our trauma response, right? We keep
yes.
responding to what's happening currently in the same way we have always responded to it.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
we keep accumulating trauma upon trauma upon trauma. We're not understanding this is a conditioned response. It's a trauma response.
Mhm.
We're actually meant to live
Mhm.
happily.
Mhm.
We're
Mhm.
actually meant to seek our highest joy and aspiration. We're actually meant to live in abundance and prosperity. We're
Mhm.
actually very compassionate and loving at the core.
Yeah.
There can't be any other way.
Right. Right.
And that's where we, so we can't keep on sleeping and pretending.
Yeah.
There's a calling of these times. There's a need. The times are calling for you, and it's not just for you and I because we do this work. The work is not just for me. The work is for each individual person because
Yeah.
every person who wakes up,
Right.
it adds monumentally to the awakening of our world.
Right.
So if nobody is less or more. Every single being is important. Every single being has a purpose. So
Mhm.
if you are being called to be more, and these are not easy times. Nobody's having easy time with these times, right? So some people are going to lead, some people are going to follow. And I do both. I lead, I also follow. I
Mhm.
know that you're a fan of Dr. Joe Dispenza. I
Yes.
love him.
Huge.
He has changed my way of thinking.
Me
And
too.
I mean, I listen to him. I do his walking
Mhm.
meditations, and I'm in a
Mhm.
different world. I love
Mhm.
those. And
Mhm.
I listen to Esther Hicks.
Mhm.
I do some
Mhm.
channel or people who channel information. So very few, but I follow because there's a resonance. I was
Mhm.
led to those teachings for a reason. So there's a resonance. So, and I bring those teachings into the teachings that I do. I integrate it all so other people can find resonance with what I'm doing. And who knows? So teaching is not just, on a platform like this that we teach a course. We
Right.
teach by
Right.
example.
Right.
Love is taught by being love.
Right.
Love is taught in your presence. So this work is not just a course, guys. It will change not only your life, but the lives of those who are around you.
Mm-hmm. It's
You
like a
know,
domino effect.
it's like a domino effect, and
Yeah.
each one of us need to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, how is this going to change?
Right. And we're both parents, and even and for those of you watching and listening, if you're a parent, you understand, a lot of times what your kids are learning is through what you're doing, not what you're saying.
Yeah.
So, we always say, go clean your room, or, pick up your jacket and hang it up, or whatever it is, right? With our kids, do your homework, do this. But they're watching us. They're watching to see,
Exactly.
does mom hang her jacket up when she comes home? Does mom get her work done, or stay true to her commitments? Does dad, do this? So
Hmm.
it's this idea, and it's beautifully, gosh, Mina, you're saying so many beautiful things in this conversation in the
Oh,
last
thank
31
you.
minutes
Yeah.
as well. But it's what you talk about. There's leading and following. So as parents, we lead our children, but we also follow those who've gone before us. You
Hmm.
mentioned Esther Hicks and Dispenza, both incredible human beings making massive impact in the world,
Yeah.
doing beautiful work. But those
Hmm.
are people also that I follow,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
so we're kind of, each of us are on
You
a
know.
journey, and we bring kind of people with us, and that light expands outward. And
Mhm.
so it's just, yeah,
So
it's,
yeah, we had in the like the older world, because we're
yeah,
kind of at that pivot point now where
right,
we can say old world, new
yeah,
world.
yeah,
We are both teachers and students.
yes,
The line that were drawn, like the teacher and the student, there is subtly there's that line, just so there's a the transmission is very unbiased and
yes,
in its purest form, but it's
hmm,
not a line like, oh, I am at a higher place and you, my pupils, sit down. And it's not like that. It's really that those lines aren't there. And we're moving into the Aquarian age,
yeah,
where the teachings that were kept to a handful, few elite people,
right,
they're now accessible to everyone,
right,
right? So we
right,
are going to learn. So the
hmm,
way out of suffering is
yeah,
through knowledge. It's not
hmm,
just through book knowledge, the information, it's rather through experiential knowledge. And those teachings were about experiential knowledge. So when you talk about the ancient teachings of yoga and Ayurveda, and even when the work that you do, it is not less than, it's not just physical.
hmm,
You are intuiting, you are seeing the client's story, you may be seeing it in their spine, but it's not coming from the spine. You may fix
right,
the spine, but you fix the physical, but it's not coming from the physical. So it's
hmm,
that ability to intuit, because you have expanded your field of consciousness
hmm,
and you see the patient more than just a messed up spine.
yes,
So you know what I mean? It's like, and I don't see, here comes hypertension and here comes this, because
yeah,
sure I treat hypertension and all of the medical categories that we have created about
right,
diseases, but that's the symptomology. Um, but there's a root cause is not there. So that's the whole holistic ancient wisdom, is what caused it.
hmm,
No, no, it's not inflammation. No, what caused inflammation? Well, I ate this. Well, why did you eat this? Well, it's because, well, why do you think this way? It's because of, we go trickle
deep,
it down
deep,
to
deep,
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 deep, deep, deep, deep until like, ah,
layer, layer, layer,
well,
layer,
yeah. Does that make sense? So can we
yeah,
go all the way to the bottom and create a change there? So then it will affect so many areas in your life, rather than here's a pill for hypertension, here's what you're going to eat, which of course you know what to eat. You're just not going to do it because the
hmm,
habits are being driven by something sitting, the subconscious content. So, this is
It's sitting here.
it's sitting here, and it's just, really. So, I love that we can have this conversation so openly. And before, to have the conversation was like, you're speaking Chinese, or what are the language that you cannot speak? Because I can't speak Chinese.
Right,
And,
right.
so what are you speaking? So people didn't buy into it. There were people who said, well, I don't believe in holistic medicine. I'm like, well, it's not reliable. It's not dependent upon your belief. It
I was going to
works.
say it's not a belief system to believe
It,
in. So
it works regardless. It
in
works
reality,
regardless. It's like,
yeah,
same thing,
yeah,
like, is yoga a religion? And I'm like, no. If you have a body and you can breathe, come and do yoga. It's not a
yeah,
religion. I don't
right.
know. Like, it's hard to even answer that question, but there's a programming.
It's programming, it's mental blocks,
It's mental blocks. It's old beliefs.
it's old beliefs, yeah. It's tradition, getting caught in traditions of things like, especially, if you're raised in a religious household and then you get stuck to a doctrine or to,
Yeah, there's a
certain things.
doctrine you're following. We don't
Right,
do this. We, right? It's
right,
like, no, you're not separate from other humans.
right, exactly. And, like with everything in life, not just in healthcare, but in everything in life, we are so unique, each and every one of us. And I don't need to say that, like being preachy, because it's like, okay, we look at each other and it's like, Mina has black hair, I have brown hair, like, all of these things, we can see how unique we are. But
Yeah.
then so often we're caught in this grind of, well, I'm trying to be Mina. And I'm like, I can't be Mina. I'm Dr. Brook. Like, Mina can't be me. We all have to kind of come to the world with our own gifts and understand, um, you know, that like just we have to exude our own light in the world and rise above whatever's happened. And I think that
Hmm.
this is such a beautiful way to rise above those things that may or may not have happened to you. Life may not have gone the way you wanted it to go, but this is an opportunity to live that in that love-based realm. And so I just think that's awesome that you're putting this together.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I will just share with people where we begin, by the way, next Wednesday. It's
Hmm.
6 Wednesdays, 90 minutes. Classes are all recorded. I work with like slides just to kind of get started. But then at the end, I create a book out of it. So the book becomes like a workbook
Hmm.
that you have with you, because you can keep working these teachings forever.
Yeah.
And then you have the access to all the audio files forever. You can continue to listen to them, so they're all recorded. And it just becomes really the course becomes a wonderful tool for
Hmm.
you to move forward. So if you're interested in the course, go to my website, ayurvedichealingcenter.com. Under the online learning, you are going to find group programs and then 6 keys to living. Click and you'll get all the details and the sign up information.
And Mina, you should probably put that link in the comments also.
I did
Um,
actually when I
oh,
did the description.
perfect,
Yeah, all of
perfect,
that is included and it's in the description
perfect.
there too. So well,
Yeah,
that's enough about me and the course. And I want to hear, tell our viewers and more about you, more about maybe your journey and how you got to integrate like the healing arts in chiropractic model.
yeah.
That you
Well,
did that.
in the last like couple minutes that I have with you guys, thank you for this opportunity, Mina. The way that I got into the healing arts with chiropractic was through a chiropractor who was doing a lot of energy work. And, I shared with this with you last week, but I was seeing a very traditional chiropractor who is absolutely a phenomenal human being. And, he spoke a lot of life into me. I didn't even realize I was dead emotionally. Like I was the zombie living with a veil over my eyes, just kind of so out of tune with my body, with who I was, with everything surrounding me,
Mhm.
and he really started to help me see myself in a different light. Sometimes you need people to come alongside you. Mina is such a great person to have do that with you, but someone to come alongside you and show you a different way. And in this case, he really helped me see those things. So I was getting adjusted by him, met this other, energetic chiropractor, like energy worker chiropractor, who has developed a way to communicate with the human body. So our bodies are communicating with us all day, every day. Like as we've been sitting here in this conversation, it's been communicating with other cells, it's been communicating with other organs. We're not just a skin suit. Like there is so much happening everywhere throughout this entire thing that we call the human body, right? It's so incredible. But he's developed a way of being able to speak to it and be able to get information from it. So we talked about, foreign languages and learning Chinese or something sounds like Chinese and we don't understand it. It's the same way. It's like our bodies are communicating, but we don't have the tools or the awareness to communicate with it or to understand what it's trying to say. And so the work that I do is just a way of getting to glean the information from the body and present it back to the patient that I'm working with and saying, you're experiencing these symptoms. This is what's happening, but this is really what the body is prioritizing. Your back is hurting, but we're like, you have a liver detox issue, or you have a buildup of toxins or a parasite or whatever, right? High blood pressure, Mina used the example, it's an indicator of something, but it's not the whole picture. Like you have to get down to the root. And she mentioned a lot of, emotional and like mental traumas or mental things that happen that end up physically displaying as pain in the body. And, you have to be willing to address that. So, through my body of work, it's really in line with what you're doing as well. And just being very intuitive and having that conversation, that one-on-one conversation with that person's body, the human body, and getting information to say, this is what you need to do. And this is how you can experience those greatest levels of health that we've all are born to have. Like we're not born to like live here. We're born to live
here. Wow. So that's the extraordinaire in the chiropractic care. And Dr. Brook, I love what you do. It's really a breath of fresh air to see someone on the kind of the medical world, because I come from the holistic medicine, but really doing the medicine in such a holistic way. It can't get any better than this. So where can people get in touch with you? How can they work with you?
They can get in touch with me at my website, Dr. Brook Sheehan. My name is spelled right there. The DC is not part of my web address, but Dr. So DRBROOK Sheehan SHEEHAN.com. And then there's a way they can sign up for my email list, get, a free copy of, the 5 keys to unlocking your greatest health. And then there's ways to work with me and stuff that they can kind of navigate on the site as well. So.
Well, wonderful. So I hope you guys took a note of that. And by the way, we do read all the comments.
Yes.
You can, whenever you're watching this, feel free to, use the comment section for any questions that you may have. We read them and we will reply to them. And we hope to be in conversation with you again. These are ongoing topics and talks and conversation that we are stirring.
Yes.
That we are stirring to really wake us up, to live the way we are designed to live. So I thank you, Dr. Brook, for your time, and I thank you, our beautiful audience, whenever you watch this, for watching this. And you can subscribe to my channel. It's just Mina Puri. And if you like what I'm talking about, you feel free to share it. And I look forward to seeing all of you again in very soon at the next live or the next video. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.